Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. My name is Puteri ZAINOL ALIA binti MEGAT NEZAM and I'm from Group H AS2515D2.
Assalamualaikum. My name is Irdyna binti ZAINOL and I'm going to present about experiment 1 solar energy availability for photovoltaics energy system subject. First thing first, the objective of this experiment is to assess the shading profile of the particular sites to determine the irradiation at that site. Next, we will move to the procedure. There are two procedures, which part A is a site location and part B is assessment of shading profile. But before I explain further about the procedure, I will show PPE that we should wear for this experiment because there is no high voltage equipment, so students just need to wear proper attire with covered shoes and importantly, sun hat and sunglasses before of hot weather. Now, we will move to part A, which site location. It is done to get the solar irradiation, which the intensity of solar energy at a point of observation. This part is unnecessary because monthly solar irradiation data has been provided, but I'll still explain the procedure for better understanding. Number 1, place the solar emitter horizontally at a clear location which 180 degrees at open ground and record the time and solar irradiance. And the picture show a solar emitter which at top is the value of solar irradiance and below is the degree of the solar emitter place. Next, we move to part B, assessment of shading profile. Firstly, we need to place the solar pathfinder at a location that have partial shading. At the side of the slide, show a picture of solar pathfinder that we will Next, we will plot the shading profile on the pathfinder chart and take a photograph of the shading profile at the location. For better image, I'll show you the video to set up the pathfinder.
First, we need to set up the pathfinder set, open the stand, and put the base section on top of the stand and the instrument section on top of it. Then, we need to adjust the compass with the red arm of the compass point north. After that, adjust the bubble level so that bubble is in the center of black skull. After finish set up the instrument, we need to place the pathfinder chart on instrument section. For the chart, we need to use the correct chart which first, we need to confirm the latitude of the location first. So, we need to choose the pathfinder chart that have the latitude range that can fit our current latitude. For example, Shah Alam's latitude is 3, so we need to use a chart that show the latitude range is 1 to 4. Lastly, place the dome section on top of the instrument section. The hole need to be placed opposite of the compass so it easier to shade the shading profile. Now, we move to shading. Before we start shading, we must stand exactly in front of the pathfinder, which in front of the hole, and we will see reflective panoramic view of the site will be seen on the dome. Now, we can start shading, follow the panoramic view line. To avoid unwanted reflection, only the shader can stand near the pathfinder. We can move the dome section slowly so our hand can easily enter and shade properly. Lastly, this is the picture we took
on the
from
side
the
note
experiment.
for
For the compass, a smartphone can be used to find the north direction by using compass application. So, the red arm of the compass is in the place and points north.
Now is result and data. I'll show the data for part A site location, which solar irradiation H. This data obtained from report, which supposedly we get from the plotted graph of the solar irradiance versus time. Here is the simple formula show the connection between G and T to get the solar irradiation. Next, show the pathfinder charge obtained which I label as raw data 1, raw data 2, and raw data 3. Next, this table shows the table for available irradiation for each month for raw data 1. The value of H obtained from data and percentage shading is from the pathfinder charge. After that are shading factor and H site, which I will explain further in the next part. First, I'll show how we obtain the percentage shading from the pathfinder. It is by adding the values shaded from the both sides of the chart. Next is shading factor calculate using the formula, and lastly, H site obtained from this formula. After finish the table, we need to calculate the total solar irradiation for each month, average daily PSH for each month, and average daily PSH for entire year. And it shows the formula, also the example of calculation from raw data 1. Next, we move to discussion. I will explain briefly about our results and analysis. We obtained 3 raw data of this experiment, which raw data 1, raw data 2, and raw data 3. All of the data have different shading profile. As you can see, raw data 1 have shown earlier, and the 3 data were different, maybe because of the quantity of the solar radiation emitted and varies depending on time, local topography, and local weather. From the calculation, it showed that the place where raw data 3 is obtained is the best location that receive high solar radiation. This was analyzed by the value of available irradiation for entire year, total H, and average daily PSH for entire year, which, as you can see, the comparison of the 3 data in the table. Last but not least, the conclusion. In conclusion, the shading profile for a particular site has been assessed and 3 raw data have been shaded on the Pathfinder chart using the Pathfinder set. The solar irradiation for each site has been calculated using the data obtained, and the total irradiation for each month and for entire year have been calculated, which explain in result and data based on the shading percentage obtained from Pathfinder chart. The total of solar irradiation for each month have been calculated as shown in the discussion. For all data, and it's conclude that raw data 3 get the highest solar irradiation and no shading profile, which make the location for raw data 3 is the best place for the PV module to be set. Thank you. That's all from me.